short month's time. I have to say, I find it a truly sickening sight to see the country that actually invented democracy being bullied by you and the increasingly appalling International Monetary Fund and being told they have to accept this austerity package. They have to accept cutting their economy to a level that will put them into a total economic depression.
Max Keiser, we know there's not going to be a bailout from France, Germany, the big countries within the European Union. Could Greece maybe go to the IMF for help, or would that be even worse?
Jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. I mean, the IMF is Goldman Sachs. The IMF, World Bank, Goldman Sachs, Wall Street, they're all commingled. They're all working together. This has been now obvious since the credit collapse starting 2 years ago. As Warren Buffett said, when the tide goes out, you see who's not wearing a bathing suit. Now, as the credit crunch has basically deprived these countries and these companies in these countries of credit, we're seeing who is not capable of dealing in the credit crunch. And Greece is an obvious example, but so too is Spain and the other so-called pig nations.
Good, but not if it's at the expense of everybody else. And part of what we're seeing this afternoon is we're seeing country like Greece becoming engulfed in a financial and democratic tragedy. And one of the reasons that everybody is so determined to keep Greece in the euro is so that the banks don't have to take a serious hit on their faulty lending policies. So, no, something has gone seriously wrong with the banking system. And it's almost as if there's a sort of unholy alliance of politicians and bankers versus ordinary people. And I'm sure that's what the people on the streets of Athens today feel like.
But the jawbone this issue all day long, but not take any action because they know that the professional speculators are driving down the euro. The short position, which the negative bets on the euro are at an historic high. Billions and billions of euros and dollars are bet on the euro's failure. Chief beneficiary of this is going to be Germany, who's a huge export market. So they're just using basically Greece and the poor people in Greece who are losing their jobs and have to go through austerity measures. It has absolutely nothing to do with fundamental reform of that economy. They're basically sausage going through the Wall Street banking machine, and they need to ban Goldman Sachs from doing business in their country. They need to ban Wall Street firms from doing any business in their country. Until you get rid of the financial terrorists in your country is going to continue to lose jobs, unemployment is going to go up, and the quality of life is going to continue to go down because you're being held captive by financial terrorists.
Cases, it might have been better to do what Iceland did and to say, look, these banks go bust, these people lose their jobs, these people lose their money. That's unfortunate, but that's life. And I suspect we're going to regret keeping the banks afloat and imprisoning countries like Greece inside a currency union to which they're just not suited. You on saying there is no plan B. If they go on trying to keep these countries trapped inside the euro, then I'm afraid we are headed for a very sticky end indeed. And I think financially, what will bring this down in the end isn't just the Greek economy or the Portuguese or the Irish. In the end, what's going to bring this down is the European Central Bank itself, an organisation that all the member states have put money into. And the point at which Greece defaults, and it's coming, it could come within the next couple of weeks in my opinion, the point at which Greece defaults, you will see the European Central Bank itself effectively will be bust because they've used all this money buying up effectively their own bad debt. And then when the hat goes round, I just can't see countries like Finland, countries like the Netherlands putting money in. So
when people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And that's what it is. The people know the score. You could sum up what's killed capitalism in 4 simple words. Too big to fail. And that's what's going on. The banks are failing, and they want the people to bail them out. Because, hey, after all, they don't like to take a hit, these big guys, so they call it austerity measures and privatization. Gerald, and I want to make this clear. The IMF is nothing more than the International Mafia Federation. They're the loan sharks of last resort, and the people know it. They call it privatization. Adults call it stealing valuable public assets and selling it to your friends really cheaply.
Civil disorder perhaps occurring in Britain?
Well, I think this. I think if you rob people of their democratic rights, if you take away from them their ability to determine their future by who they vote for and who becomes their prime minister, and frankly that's happened in Greece. It doesn't matter whether Papandreou or somebody else is the PM, all the while they're trapped in the euro and taking orders from the European Commission as to what they must tax and what they must spend. I think if you take that away from people, then the only alternative they're left with is civil disobedience.
Countries on the verge of a bailout, you say, no, no, there's no problem. And here we are, on the verge of the second Greek bailout, and you say there is no alternative. We must continue down this route. We must ignore the fact that the Spanish bond market are telling us that they are going to be next. What a fine mess you've got us into. You have a 100% record for being wrong with every single prediction about the euro. And when you say today that this package will put Greece on the road to growth, oh no it won't, it'll put them on the road to the third bailout, which we'll be discussing in a few short months' time.
8 months ago, it was off with their heads 2.0. We said that the global Ponzi scheme was under collapse. And that's what we're seeing happening, whether it's in Tunisia, whether it's in Egypt, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in Greece. Watch out for Spain. Here comes Italy. Ireland's coming up the back stretch. It's only going to get much worse. There's no way out, and the people are angry.